vacations, let's look at some hotels that support the Democratic Party. Hyatt Hotels. Now, Hyatt Hotels is owned by the Pritzker family. Why does that Pritzker name sound so familiar? That's right, Governor J.B. Pritzker, governor of Illinois. Safe to say that Hyatt Hotels supports the Democratic Party. Choice Hotels. Now, Choice Hotels donated $1.3 million to Democrats in 2024. And if you're wondering, Choice Hotels owns Quality Inn, Sleep Inn, Okono Lodge, and Roadway Inn. Wyndham Hotels. Now, Wyndham Hotels owns Super 8, Days Inn, Aquanita, Ramada, and more. Marriott. Marriott donated $228,000 to Democrats in 2024, and Hilton Hotels donated $241,000 to Democrats in 2024. This has been WCPT telling you how you can shop blue.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Welcome to Choose Views with Richard Chew. Get ready to dive into a world of insightful conversations and thought-provoking discussions.
As progressives, our job is to have an all-inclusive, full-on assault with all of our players.
A show that focuses on moving our political, social, economic, gender, and cultural conversation forward.
And all of our players means all of our players.
It's Choose Views. And now, here's your host, Richard Chew.
Good Tuesday morning, progressives. And all the rest, of course, welcome to the June 16th, 2026 edition of Choose You. 773-763-9278 is our number. Find my show on Facebook Live, TuneIn Radio, and YouTube. And you can email me at richard@wcpt820.com and follow me on all the socials under Choose Views. Catch all of our shows by subscribing to our WCPT podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, and iHeartRadio. There you can get Choose Views featured interviews, Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive, Driving It Home with the great Patty Vasquez, It's the Democracy Stupid with Edwin Eisendrath, Out Chicago, and our other shows and interviews. And, of course, make sure you are checking out our shows in the evenings, The Politics Bar, Matt McNeil's show, and The Gailey Show. And make your way over to heartlandsignal.com for all of the things that are Heartland Signal stuff. The great posts, the great articles. You will appreciate those that we are, that our digital newsroom has been able to put together. Things like Rep for Congress, Pennsylvania State Representative and Democratic congressional candidate gives a reality check on Philadelphia's Democratic Party. You need to check it out. It was an interview that we did last week. Also on the Gailey Show, Steve Simon, a Democrat from Minnesota, pushes back on the DOJ lawsuit demanding full access to the state's voters' rolls. And I've got something to say about that. Keep doing that, states. That they're going to keep trying to pull those documents, make it difficult to provide allocated funding to the states. All the things, they're going to do all these things. The federal government, Trump and his band of idiots are going to do everything they can to get in the way. But make your way over to heartlandsignal.com to check out our articles and posts that we have there. So I got to start right off by saying thanks to Devin, thanks to Mike, and most definitely thanks to Michelle Peltier for hanging out yesterday and filling in for me while I was in Detroit at the Fair Tax Forum. So I want to give a shout out to the folks there and the Fair States Project and the folks from the area, but also people from all over the country that showed up. There were about 400 people that attended. It was a really great event, and I had an opportunity to moderate one of the speaker forums to talk about the states and what we all want to see happening in our states when it comes to our state legislators and legislatures. Great speakers that were there, and I had a chance to moderate one of the sessions specifically on states dealing with the ugly bill, the big ugly bill. What do I want to say about that? I'll be talking with another person later this week in that space, Daniel Squadron. I've mentioned that name a couple times in the last week or so, and his latest book that's come out. I will talk with him about that. But really, one of the focus points of the book is on the states taking back power and re-energizing their power, and that was one of the the topics of the forum yesterday. So kudos to the people that organized that event. Kristen Kroll, who is one of our guests on the show, was one of the big organizers of that. And, she's the lady that had the big bus going all over the country last year about fair tax for regular, everyday people and making sure that we tax the billionaires at a level that makes sense. Did you guys know that this guy that's cooked the markets, his last name begins with an M and ends with a K, and his first name begins with an E and ends with an N, that didn't actually develop an electric vehicle? You guys know what I'm talking about. Yeah, him, Elon. Did you know that that a big part of his newly ascended wealth to a trillionaire is really about how the FEC and the FEC and the FTC have impacted how trading can take place. The SEC, not the sports conference, but the Securities and Exchange Commission, and the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, have basically created some exceptions for the way in which the companies actually listed on the NASDAQ or listed on the markets. It gets into the weeds, but at the end of the day, it's not because he's done anything that's helped society. And I could say that, developing an electric car has helped his bottom line, but has it really helped society? Particularly when he's gotten the majority, a large portion of his contracts through our federal government, but yet he wants to tear it down. What about Doge? How has Doge impacted negatively people's lives? But I can throw snark at him all day long. So the point I'm making about that in terms of taxing is that there needs to be stronger legislation. After seeing and listening to so many experts yesterday at this event, which is going on through today as well in Detroit, we definitely need to raise the Social Security contribution tax, the tax on Social Security for people that make over 184, or once their income hits $184,500. That number needs to go up. There's no question about it. I've thought it for a while, but looking at some of the detail and evidence yesterday, I'm like, wow, yeah. So there you go. On today's show, Charles Booker, who is running for he's a 2026 candidate for Senate in Kentucky. He beat out one of our favorite guests, Amy McGrath, who we had on the show last week. And so Charles will be with us in the 6:30 hour. And I really want to talk to him about how he's going to pull this off. Lisa Stark, former ABC News reporter and activist. We've had Lisa on before, right around the time of the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And Leah Litman, professor of law at the University of Michigan School of Law and author of the book Lawless, How the Supreme Court Runs on Conservative Grievance, Fringe Theories, and Bad Vibes, will be with us in the 7:30 hour. She's also the co-host of Strict Scrutiny podcast. So there you go. That's who we got on the show today. Looking forward to chatting with them and really getting some updates, particularly from Lisa when it comes to journalism and Professor Litman when it comes to what's happening with SCOTUS. I've got a couple questions for her that I really want to get some answers to on that. I'm going to be giving away a copy of her book, Lawless. And the name of the book is Lawless, How the Supreme Court Runs on Conservative Grievance, Fringe Theories, and Bad Vibes. And the question for giving away the book, and this is for the first person in the 6:30 hour that calls and answers this question, you'll get a free copy of her book, Lawless. So what's the question? The question is, in what year did the Supreme Court go from 6 to 9 justices? And Devin and Mike will have the answer to that question for you. And there's also a second part to that. I'm just looking for the year, but let's see how smart you are. What was it called? But what year did the Supreme Court go from 6 to 9 justices? The first person to call after 6:30, after the break at 6:30, will get a copy. I'm going to hold it up of Professor Litman's book, Lawless. So there you go. That's the question for getting a copy of the book that we'll send out to you. And the question of the day is, what is the first thing that you hope the new Congress, the Democratic Congress, will do in their first 100 days after being sworn in? What is the first thing you hope the new Congress, the Democratic Congress, led by Democrats, do in their first 100 days after being sworn in, which would be we're on the 20th of January, 2027. So that first 100 days, what is that thing you hope that you want to see them get done? So there you go. We'll go ahead and take a quick break. The number is 773-763-9278. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. And now AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. I'm Richard Chu, and we will be right back.
Too often, political news focuses on what's happening in Washington, D.C. But from redistricting to reproductive rights, what matters most to your life happens at the state level. And when no one's closely watching the state, bad stuff happens. That's why Heartland Signal offers Radio Free America, a free weekly newsletter from me, Aaron Kleinman. Sign up at heartlandsignal.com/newsletter. I spent 7 years helping the most successful state-level political group navigate elections across the country. Now I want to help you understand what's going on in your state. And I'll also have some funny stuff in there too, like Weird Al on Howard Stern. Because, let's face it, we could all use a laugh. So sign up for our free newsletter, Radio Free America. We never share or sell your email address, and you can unsubscribe at any time. Sign up now at heartlandsignal.com/newsletter.
Feel the rush of summer in your new Porsche. Find the perfect model for you at the Porsche Exchange in Highland Park. Browse and test drive our extensive selection, like the 2026 Porsche Cayenne. Right now, lease the 2026 Cayenne for just $11.99 a month for 39 months. Discover performance like no other when you visit the Porsche Exchange in Highland Park or PorscheExchange.com. $10,990 signing for qualified buyers. Excludes tax, title, license, and dealer fee. No security deposit required. See dealer for details. Offer ends 6/30/26.
Progressive presents Adjusting to the Suburbs.
I never really thought about tools until I bought a house in the suburbs. It's like this weird homeowner test if I need a tool for a project and don't have it. And my neighbor Ted loves to give me that look when I ask to borrow a pole saw. A year ago, I didn't even know pole saws existed. And now I gotta borrow one from Ted? What is happening?
Anyway, when you save with Progressive by bundling your home and auto, that's the easy part of adjusting to the suburbs. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers. This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Mike's on, truth's out. This is Choose Views with Richard Chu.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. If you're just tuning in, this is Choose Views, and I'm Richard Chu. Good to be back with you guys. And like I said, it was so great and wonderful that Michelle was able to sit in yesterday and fill in. She's great, and I heard the laughs and the conversations, and thanks to our guests for hanging out with Michelle as well yesterday. Okay, so let's head in with a couple of quick Choose Views news items. On this June 16th, 2026, KFC is betting on boneless chicken, boba, in a bold menu revamp. They will launch what they're calling the bold menu review this summer, prioritizing boneless chicken and adding an expanded lineup of sauces and premium drinks, according to CNBC. The chicken chain is hoping to attract customers from newcomers like Raising Cane's and reverse slumping sales with their busy additions that include boba refreshers and chimichurri ranch sauce. The overall overhaul has also featuring new branding such as a 3D logo and a redesigning of their restaurants. Since 2021, KFC's market share for chicken-first fast casual restaurants has tumbled from 16% to 9.4%, slipping behind Popeyes and Chick-fil-A, which, by the way, I don't go to Chick-fil-A for some of their political positions, particularly on the LGBTQ community. So there, I did say it. Fox Corp snaps up Roku. This is one of these other consolidation deals in a $22 billion deal creating a TV giant. They've agreed to buy Roku in a deal valuing a streaming giant at that dollar level. The company's announced late yesterday. Fox will pay $160 a share in cash and Class A common stock. The acquisition will bring together Fox's extensive sports, news, and entertainment offerings and its own Tubi streamer. With Roku's 100 million streaming households worldwide, creating a next-generation media and technology company, according to Fox. Cape Verde, this is interesting, talking about soccer, stuns Spain with a 0-0 World Cup draw. The first round of the 2026 World Cup has already produced its first Cinderella story, with the pre-tournament favorite and reigning European champion Spain falling to a 0-0 draw yesterday with Cape Verde, playing in its first ever World Cup match. The island nation of around 500,000 held off Spain thanks to the heroics of 40-year-old goalkeeper Bozinha and defender Roberto Lopez, a one-time Dublin bank worker initially recruited to the national team by a message on LinkedIn. How about that for a life-changing event? And last but not least, public schools are facing layoff warnings amid budget woes throughout the country. Challenges driven by declining enrollment and pandemic-era federal aid expiring is causing much of this concern. 7 of the country's 10 major school districts are considering layoffs, with Los Angeles and Las Vegas already cutting hundreds of jobs in each of those communities. Many districts also face deteriorating credit ratings, raising concerns about future school closures and layoffs. Quote, "We haven't seen this much mention of job reductions in 15 years since the aftermath of the last recession," according to Eduonics Lab Director Marguerite Rosa. So there you go, guys. A couple of Choose Views news items on this Tuesday, June 16th, 2026. You know what? The official date of summer is coming up this weekend, this coming Sunday. And next weekend is the Pride Parade here in Chicago. So there's a lot going on. The opening of the Obama Library and Center this weekend, Friday's Juneteenth. So there's a lot happening all over the country, and particularly here in Chicago. But let me bring you guys up to speed on a couple things you may not have heard. You may have, but just in case, we want to bring this to your attention. How many people saw that the $16 million reflecting pool renovation is reportedly covered in algae again? Mike, the pool cleaner, came out and he left something in the pool. I'm here to clean the pool. Does anybody know where that muddled line is from? What movie? Beverly Hills Cop 2. Eddie Murphy. Yeah, not to make light of something that's an important part of our historical monuments, but just days after Trump proudly declared that he had transformed the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool from a supposedly filthy eyesore into something far more beautiful than it was in 1922. Nature had some other ideas. And so I guess that means that they probably should have put it out to bid to someone that really knew how to deal with this. And also taken into account that it's an outdoor pool in a climate that's going to have these kinds of things happen. DC gets very humid. So, I mean, it's going to happen, dumbass.
Say it.
There, behind. Donald, it's going to happen. Just, don't pretend any longer, which I know this is me being facetious, that you know what the hell you're doing, because you don't. And you don't listen to anybody. And clearly this was $16 million. What could we have done with $16 million? Well, let's just take the 16 largest cities in the country and give each of them $1 million towards something to help with early school programs. I don't know, but don't waste it on something like this. Pick 8 and pick 8 blue and 8 red cities and send $16 million to them and say, here, This is a gift from the federal government to do something that will help your city. But, MAGA likes this. So, there you go. And I wasn't here yesterday, so I didn't get a chance to comment on the UFC situation. But I'm going to say this. I'm not going to be bashful about it. The guy that made the comment about former lady Michelle Obama, let me just share something with you. First of all, Michelle Obama's a woman. Trust me. I've met her a handful of times before she was running, before Barack ran for president. And I have a cousin in my family that can tell you that she's a woman. And I'll leave it at that. So a little bit of name dropping. I have a cousin that can assure you that she's a woman. And to that end, and it's not a bad thing that I can say it that way. They just grew up together. They went to high school together. But that being said, she's a stone cold queen, not just a woman. And the guy whose name I will not mention that made the comment about her deserves all the smoke that he gets right now. And some people are out there saying that that the Obamas, or Michelle Obama specifically, should sue him and the UFC. Hey, whether she does or she does not, which wouldn't upset me a bit if she decided to. That's her call, obviously. But knowing her, basically knowing what we've seen from her, she will not dignify that with the process that it would take to go through suing the guy. And so, there it is. Those are my observations about that. What a piggish, disgusting thing for him to say. And he deserves all the smoke that he's going to catch for however long he catches it from anybody and whomever sends it to him from anywhere on the planet. So there. Regarding some of the Trump deals, his support is collapsing in rural America. I talked with a number of people yesterday that are verifying that because they're so involved in some of the state legislatures other than what we see here in Illinois. Some are in red states, the people that I talked with yesterday, and they are all recognizing that his rural support is going down significantly. So many people are saying that Donald Trump would have never been president without rural America. And some say it was a con job. We all know where we stand on that. But one thing for sure, the numbers are going down. Now, the question that I asked one of the panelists yesterday is, do we think that number, if it's going down, if that number is going to shift to Democrats in terms of voting? And that's sort of the big question, because he's not going to be running again for president. But I think the opportunity, and everybody that I spoke with yesterday, whether it was in private or on the panel, all said the same thing, literally, and that is, it doesn't matter what Republican voters who are switching might do. What matters is that we work toward getting the tent bigger by going after the people, the 89 million people that did not vote in the general election, but obviously how that trickles down to all the other elections that are taking place, the specials, the primaries, and all the rest. So the opportunity, guys, if you're looking for something to do, it's to find people who did not vote, okay? Find people who did not vote and inspire them to get to the polls, get registered and get to the polls. 773-763-9278 is the number. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT, AM 820 in Chicago, and 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. And now, our good friends at AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. I'm Richard Chu. When we come back, we will be talking with Charles Booker, who's running for Congress, running for U.S. Senate in Kentucky. We'll be right back. Hey Progressives, it's Richard Chu, host of Choose Views weekdays 6 to 8 a.m. Central. We're all anxious for the 2026 midterm election to arrive so we can restore some sanity and much needed oversight to our government. In fact, it's the most important midterm election in American history. and Choose Views will be in the thick of it, bringing you candidate interviews on a regular basis. I'll be talking to Democratic Party hopefuls running for House and Senate at the federal and state level, as well as candidates for governor and other state and local offices.
I am in love with our ability to fight for our rights, to fight for our future, to fight for our freedoms, to fight as our ancestors fought. It's just our moment. This is just our time to stand up and to speak up. We can't give up on this.
If you miss any of the interviews live, you'll be able to find them all on WCPT's Candidate Interviews page at heartlandsignal.com/candidates. That's Choose Views, weekdays from 6 to 8 a.m. on WCPT, Chicago's progressive talk for 20 years.
Cats are masters at using up their 9 lives, like chasing laser pointers into walls or jumping onto high shelves. But the one thing cats never do, text while driving. So be like a cat and protect your one and only life. Don't text and drive.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Many of our U.S. veterans and service members face challenges, mental health struggles, housing obstacles, food insecurity, and social isolation, to name just a few. I'm Bob Woodruff. My family and I started the Bob Woodruff Foundation in 2006 after I sustained a life-threatening injury while reporting from Iraq. Our service members had my back that day, and we need to have theirs now more than ever. At our foundation, we invest in solutions, so learn more about our work at bobwoodrufffoundation.org/success.
Chicago's Progressive Talk WCPT Willow Springs is powered by ComEd. Find rebates and discounts on energy-efficient products at ComEd.com/home savings.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. We'll see a few scattered showers and thunderstorms here for today with cloudy skies, a high in the mid-70s. Breezy winds out of the southwest around 10 to 20 miles per hour, gusting as high as 30. Tonight, partly cloudy skies develop, a low near 57. By Wednesday, a good chance for showers and thunderstorms, cloudy high of 70 degrees. And Thursday, skies will become mostly sunny, high of 73. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 63.
You're listening to WCPT 820, because facts matter.
It's Choose Views, where we read more than just the headline. Now here's your host, Richard Chew.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. If you are just tuning in, you're listening to Choose Views, and I'm Richard Chew. I've said this so many times over the last 2.5 years. We have a great bench. And when you have a good bench, you get to do some things a little bit differently. And that is, even if you got people on your bench or in our party that are running against each other, as in the case down in Kentucky, we had 3 strong Democrats running for this Senate seat that we need to take back, take over, control for the next, millennia. When you have that kind of talent, you can hold your head high and pull your shoulders back. Former Kentucky State Representative Charles Booker is the Democratic nominee for the U.S. Senate in Kentucky. He outlasted Amy McGrath, who is a friend of the show, and Dale Romans. And we're happy to have Mr. Booker on this morning. Good morning, candidate. Welcome to Choose Views.
Good morning, sir. Good to be with you.
Absolutely. Well, listen, I say this all the time, Charles, is that we have a great bench. We have so many qualified folks that are running for so many offices in state legislatures all over the country. I was just in Detroit doing a forum on fair tax, and so many of the people that were there were from state legislatures. And I was just so pleased to see this great leaders, this room full of great current and future leaders. You fit into that same category, and you ended up being head and shoulders over 2 other really solid candidates, good, powerful people that have had success in their careers. And so let's start off by talking a little bit about that and how you were able to kind of be head and shoulders over some really, strong candidates in the state of Kentucky. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, what you said is very true. We definitely have a great bench of of Democrats, but of people who understand that democracy is worth fighting for. Regular folks who see what's happening to our country, to our economy, to the Constitution, and are saying that enough is enough and that change won't happen unless we do it. And I'm going to tell you, I'm so honored to be the nominee for U.S. Senate. And it truly is a testament to the work that I've been doing over the years as a part of a very unprecedented coalition. And it's not often talked about when you hear the news around Kentucky, but there is a growing coalition of folks from the hood to the holler, literally, that are standing up, that understand that we deserve better than to struggle, than to choose between putting food on the table and getting the medicine we need or keeping the lights on. Kentucky being one of the poorest states in the country, one of the sickest states in the country. And I've stood up in my own right, growing up in poverty and seeing the challenges, to say that if we stand together, regardless of what our party is, because this is about all of us as family, that yes, we can win a Senate seat, but we can do so much more to ensure that everyone can live a good life. And I'm just proud of the work that we're doing.
Yeah, and I am too. So unless you watch certain television shows or certain streaming programs, you may not know the other side. He said from the hood to the holler, and that's become kind of one of his mantras in his campaign. A lot of people don't know what the holler is. And so take a moment and share why that is politically important and what it is, and then why it's politically important in this moment.
Absolutely. I love when I get the chance to share what a holler is. First of all, yes, we are speaking out. We're hollering about the change we need, the justice we need. But in a very literal sense, hollers in our communities, in areas largely in Appalachia, these are places that are mostly Republican now, largely white, rural. And these are areas in between the hills. And it's often said, because there's one way in and one way out, you can stand at the front and holler up to the folks that are in the back. And, you know, when I worked as a director of Fish and Wildlife, served in the legislature, I had to go all across Kentucky. And I went into areas that had Confederate flags, had black jockeys in the yards. We still got sundown towns. And I was in a lot of rooms where the stereotypes would say, don't go. The consultants would say, don't waste your time. And what I found are people who share so many of the same struggles, so many of the same dreams. And we have so much more in common than would ever divide us. And that really is the heart of my campaign, us standing as family, fighting as family. And the policies I lift up are about how we end generational poverty, to make sure that everyone can afford their medicine. We need Medicare for all, that everyone can have good wages, true living wages, and that we can afford our utilities, afford our groceries. These are rational approaches to just listening to regular people, and that's why our coalition is so strong and powerful.
Yeah, so I'm going to ask a question that is by design meant to have the racial component to it, because it's a question about what you just said. And I want to frame this a little bit. People have said those kinds of things to me too over my lifetime. Oh, you know, you shouldn't go there. And my family's from the South, so I understand all that, and all the blah blah blahs that go with that, and the isms. My statement's always been, why would I not go there? You know, if I were running for office, it's like, if I believe in what I believe in terms of helping all the people in our state or our community or my district, congressional, whatever it might be, I'm going there to let them know, or to ask them, why would you not want me to fight for you? If I'm going to go in and make sure that healthcare is better for you, your road access, your infrastructure is better for you, that the wages go up and that's better for you, and safety is improved and schooling is improved, why would you not want me to come to your community and holler at you? And so that, to me, is what you've been able to do. And you beat, to what would seem to be, in the state of Kentucky, the prototypical folks for this nomination. A white woman in Kentucky and a white male, non-black male in Kentucky. And you did it. So what was it what would you say is the thing? And there are probably a lot of things that you could answer, but what would you say is the thing that allowed you, or allowed your message to break through to the people that may have voted for Amy or may have voted for Dale?
Yeah, well, you're so right. First of all, my granddad taught me that you fight for family. And that's how I see this. I genuinely do. Because whether you're Democrat, Republican, or Independent, we're all getting screwed, and we're in this thing together. And, the thing that really humbles me and it inspires me is that we won the primary by double digits over the entire field, but we were outspent. Amy McGrath outraced us nearly 4-1. And the win that we were able to lift up all of us across Kentucky as a resounding statement was really due to something that is simple yet so powerful. It's at the heart of organizing. It's at the heart of community. It's building relationships and building trust. And this was very intuitive for me because growing up in the hood, we feel invisible. Nobody sees us. Nobody cares about us. Now, we largely vote Democrat, but in a lot of cases, we don't see politicians until it's election time. And even when they're around, we've had the same struggles year after year. Now, a lot of Republicans feel the exact same way. And so for me, I understood that I needed to go to the communities just like mine that feel ignored, which is the majority of Kentuckians, because we've had Mitch McConnell in office literally my entire life. He was elected when I was 2 weeks old. So a lot of us have really been just weighed by feeling ignored. And so over years, I've shown up over and over again, helping when the storms would come. I was there to help rebuild and to clean up, not because I needed cameras around, but just because that's what family does. I'm standing on the tracks with coal miners, trying to protect their rights and their livelihood as companies are filing bankruptcy and leaving them high and dry. And so just doing the work over the years, I built trust. And then they heard me be a trusted messenger because my platform and the things I'm fighting for, I've been yelling about this for years, that the government can work for regular people. It's working well for Elon Musk. It can work for the folks across Kentucky and a lot of people who voted for Trump that are standing with me. We've seen Trump signs and Booker signs in yards across Kentucky, and I'll tell you, a lot of those Trump signs are coming up. But they're standing with me because Trump said some really important things, amongst a whole lot of very ridiculous and hateful things. But he called out that the system is broken for regular people. He said he was going to bring good jobs back. He was going to drain the swamp and end endless wars. These are things that Kentuckians care about, regardless of party. Now, he was BSing, but we still need those things.
Right.
And I've been a very consistent voice and shown that if we can bring people together and lift up our voices together, we can win.
One of the things that's inspiring about your campaign is, and I can't get away, and neither should I, from the fact that here's a black man in Kentucky. People also have to understand Kentucky's history. Kentucky's history is a lot of black folks that have grown. We go back a number of generations, further back than some of the immigrant population, European immigrant population that's in Kentucky. A lot of people don't realize that. And so oftentimes we talk about Kentucky, we think of it as this rural sort of hick, to use a slang, but to make a point. No disrespect to anybody. Rural country folk, from the hood to the holler folk, all the rest, and that black folks have not had an impact in Kentucky. But in fact, that narrative is way wrong. And so that's, I think the unique thing is to see a black man in Kentucky in 2026 being able to pull folks from different factions together and say, listen, y'all, we can do this because as Kentuckians, we are family. And so it's a sense of pride for me to see you being able to be the nominee of the party there, because it does say a lot about the state, but it says a lot, I think, more about you as someone that's true to your word about what's going on there and what you're going to try to do about it. So I'm giving you your kudos there. We're going to take a break, Charles. When we come back, I want to talk about why Kentucky, in your mind, is winnable. And then let's talk a little bit about some of the other things that are going on in the country that you think are going to be ways for you to gather more people in that conversation. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT, AM 820 in Chicago, and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina. And our good friends at AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. I'm Richard Chu. We're talking with Democratic candidate nominee in Kentucky for U.S. Senate, Charles Booker. We'll be right back.
WCPT replay.
Join
joining us now on the phone is gay icons living legend, John Waters. Your body of work has shaped the lives of so many people. Like, even this morning, my neighbor was texting me. She's like, please tell him that Crybaby was my gay awakening.
Funny, because there's no gay characters in Crybaby.
I know, but there's something about, like, your movies, the embracing of camp, the embracing of tacky, the just all-out, just queer counterculture nature. Do you ever feel a responsibility for lifting the voice of the counterculture?
Well, I'm proud of it when people say that, I made them feel okay about themselves. And I wrote a whole book called Role Models about the people that did that for me. Yeah. Everybody needs a bad influence they can look up to.
Keep listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
Progressive knows you could have easily taken the freeway, but you took the scenic route to see a waterfall and an oddly busy boiled peanut stand. Discovering the unexpected is exactly why you bought an RV, so protect it with a bundle from Progressive. Because although you may be 3 hours behind schedule, you're 6 jars of jam richer and possibly enrolled in a butter churning workshop. Switch to Progressive and protect your RV, boat, or motorcycle by bundling with your home or auto insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Behind every meal are the efforts of our farmers and farm workers, whose work feeds our families and powers our communities. For more than 30 years, AgSafe has supported this industry with the knowledge and resources needed to keep workers safe and thriving. We partner with agricultural employers to strengthen safety practices and provide hands-on training. Safety isn't paperwork. It's people, community, and peace of mind. Learn more about our work at agsafe.org. Sponsored by agsafe.org.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
Don't hit that snooze button. It's time for Chew's Views with Richard Chew.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show, and thanks for being with us this morning. I'm Richard Chew, and you're listening, of course, to Chew's Views. If you're just tuning in, we're talking the great state of Kentucky. So, Charles, let's talk a little bit about this race and competition. Kentucky's winnable, so let's talk about that. And in the same breath, let's talk about what are Andy Barr's, who is your, for lack of better words, the competitor in this open race. What are his weaknesses or some of the things that you're going to really kind of focus in on? I know we have to have the conversation of what the other person doesn't do well, but here's what I'm going to do well. It's sort of, that's the walk and chew gum moment right now for Democrats. We can't just talk about how bad the right is. We have to talk about how great we are and what we're going to do to solve problems. So help us understand, what is it about Andy Barr that makes him a liability to the state?
Well, I'm gonna echo your words and put a lot of exclamation points behind them, because Kentucky is one of the most flippable races in the country. This is a very winnable race. This is an open seat, and not only, as you mentioned, are we standing up against the hate and bigotry that we see in our politics now, that Andy Barr is really acting as a puppet to continue to perpetuate. He is a part of a very painful status quo that Mitch McConnell has built. He comes from that class. He is a mentee of Mitch McConnell, while at the same time he's trying to recreate himself as this hardcore MAGA Trump supporter, fanning the flames of hate, putting out ads saying that someone's trying to convey that it's a sin to be white. That's what he's focused on at a time when people are losing their health care, at a time when people are having a hard time affording groceries and their utilities, the medicine they need. He's focusing on that mess. And the thing about it is, people of Kentucky are sick of that. They've been tired of Mitch McConnell for a long time. I think a lot of people just accepted that he probably would never leave because he's been a part of the muscle memory. But people have been so tired of that status quo. And the folks who even took a chance on Trump, who are seeing the corruption, who are seeing, the endless wars, who are seeing just catastrophe after catastrophe, the rising costs, the tariffs. You can go on and on down the line. They're seeing someone in Andy Barr who is essentially saying, whatever Trump wants to do to destroy our country, he's going to help him with a smile on his face. and they're hurting. So there's been no King's demonstrations across the country, but across Kentucky. And these are not just Democrats that are coming out in the streets. These are lifelong Republicans and independents that are coming out in the streets saying that enough is enough. And they've looked to me as essentially a megaphone or a light to shine for them, to let everyone know that we're tired of that BS. And so the powerful part about this is that not only are we showing what we are against, but we are standing about what we're for. And my vision to fight for working people, my commitment to the work of ending generational poverty and lifting up the types of policies that put money in the pockets of regular people, is what Kentuckians have been demanding. It's what people all over the country are demanding. And that's why you're seeing such a strong bench perform and win races in unexpected places around the country.
It's so cool to hear that conversation. I mean, our ideas are better, our way of doing is better, and I think that what we all have to remember when it comes to state elected officials that are representing an entire state, which is what a U.S. senator does, you do have to take in all the people and all of their opinions and then share with them our ideas and how our ideas have historically fixed more things than Republicans have. Republicans have been the party. I hear this, they're the party of conservative ideas. Well, conservative ideas means taking away from people. It has consistently meant that. It has meant nothing other than to take away from folks on a state legislative basis and on a federal level. That's all it's ever really meant. Let's find ways to conserve and take away and then give it to somebody else that is that fits our narrative. Democrats, imperfect as we are, that's not our narrative. And so we have to be of the voice. And when I say walking chew gum, Charles, it's here's why they're bad, here's why we're good, and here's what we're going to do to make things better. It's really that simple. We do have to walk and chew gum in the same beat. So thank you for kind of drilling down on that point. Right now, the I think one of the biggest concerns that states like Kentucky have is loss of jobs because of industries that have left. And there's parts of Ohio that are struggling with the same thing. But Republicans aren't doing anything to make that better. And consistently, when Republican administrations have been in place on a federal level or on a state level, that's what continues to happen. Wash, rinse, and repeat. Republicans are elected. All the things that they promise, they don't happen, other than the culture wars. And things go away. And then when we finally get to a point where a Democrat does get elected, we spend the majority of our time cleaning up the mess that Republicans made. So that's going to be one of your big tasks. I know you know this already, is to clean up the mess that Mitch McConnell has left. And Andy Barr is not going to clean up the mess. He's just going to repeat the same old garbage. So what's first thing on your plate when you get there? I'm making the assumption and sending you the good vibe that you're going to win, and I'm going to do everything I can to help in that process. Promise you that. But what's going to be when you walk in that door, Charles, and your Senator Charles Booker from the state of Kentucky? What doors are you knocking down first?
You're so right. We got a lot of cleaning up to do, and I've told the people of Kentucky, we going to Washington together. This is a job that we got to take on together. This seat belongs to the people, and the change won't happen unless we do it. And this victory really is a testament to organizing. This speaks to what is possible when we listen to regular people and we show up consistently on the issues. And like you said, we don't have to agree on everything. That's not even a real thing. But when we show up in honesty and work to build relationships, you earn trust. And that's where folks will say, well, hey, maybe I don't agree with Charles on every issue, but I trust him. I know he's fighting for me. And that's how we turn out the types of campaigns that win. And going to Washington, one of the first and immediate things we have to do, unfortunately, is start to repair a lot of the damage that Mitch McConnell has laid out for us and that Donald Trump has poured every drop of gasoline on instead of helping to drive down the cost of gas. He's been torching our country. And these tariffs have crippled so many businesses. Our farmers are suffering because of it. Folks need their money back. We got to do that work. We have seen democracy be ripped to shreds in our faces. We have to codify the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. We have to protect democracy. And that means we have to get big, dark money, the bad money, the Elon Musk money. He put $10 million in the Senate race in Kentucky trying to buy an election. We have to end Citizens United and just create the foundation for democracy to live. And that's how we can win policies like Medicare for All. That's how we can have true living wages. And in the face of AI, with the data centers that are popping up all over the country and all across Kentucky without listening to the community, we got to protect folks. AI should be a tool that benefits working people, not be used to exploit folks and have these massive data centers popping up that are jacking up utility costs, sucking up a lot of water, making people sick, pushing them out of their homes. So we need leadership that will raise the standard immediately. And I'm committed to doing that because, again, this is what family is all about.
Have you, that's such a critical way of referencing the folks there in Kentucky. We are family. Do you feel that is resonating? Are people hearing that message, irrespective of the community, whether it be cultural community, religious community, age community? Are you feeling that message is resonating and it's going to allow you to, essentially unify the state so that it's winnable?
I thank God for the fact that I get to be on this journey because this is what I was taught. I've just been speaking from the heart. I've been putting my story out there. I'm a type 1 diabetic. I've had to ration my insulin to feed my daughters. And so when I talk about the needs and challenges, it's coming from a personal place. And not only is it working, it's shining a light that the country needs to see, that the world needs to see. We need to win races like this. And when we win in Kentucky, we're going to flip the Senate. And you have to look no further than our current governor, Governor Andy Beshear, who I've had the privilege of working with the last few years in his executive cabinet. He is showing on the national stage now, helping to shine the light that when you treat people with kindness, when you show folks that no matter where they're from, they matter, we're going to deliver for you, we're going to make the government work for you because you pay for it, you'll find folks ready to stand with you. And he's been one of the most popular governors in the country in a state that has been won by Trump because he understands what it means to treat people with kindness and to show up consistently. His mantra is that we are one team, Team Kentucky. And I've just taken it a step further to say that this team is a family. And I think in the time of so much hate and division, people have been looking for permission to love again. They've been looking for leadership that will care for them and just show up. And like I said, I think this is a story that everyone needs. And I'm going to ask everyone that's listening, I know you may not believe this until you see it, but please tap in with us because we're building something powerful here. And go to charlesbooker.org and see all the work that we're doing. Make a donation. We need to win races like this.
Charles, we're going to have you back on the show because I told you I'm going to do everything I can to help you win this seat, because you winning this seat for Kentucky is a win for the nation. It literally is. And so I look forward to having you back again on the show. Check your calendar. We're going to do it again, and we're going to do it again and again. And everything we can do to make this happen, I'm there for you. So I'm honored that you would take the time to be with us this morning. And let's just figure out how to keep this train running. Does that sound cool?
Honored to do it. Proud to do it. Thank you, sir.
All right, man. Be well. Have a great rest of the day. And happy Juneteenth. Talk to you soon.
Yes, sir.
All right. 773-763-9278 is the number. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT, AM 820 in Chicago, and our good friends at 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina, and AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. I'm Richard Chu. When we come back, we'll be talking with Lisa Stark. We'll be right back.
Would it be crazy if you packed your bags and left for a week, a month, a year? What if you left for 2 years? What if you were going far away to help in a village on the edge of the Gobi Desert, to teach children and learn a thing or two about yourself? Would that be crazy? Peace Corps, life is calling. How far will you go?
I was in the hospital with my son for 18 months.
When he got injured, I wasn't prepared, but I knew I had to be strong.
When I was told about John's injury, I was in complete shock. I just remember rushing into his room and giving him a big hug and letting him know I was there.
These veterans and families are just a few of the heroes we serve at Homes for Our Troops. For thousands of severely injured veterans, everyday life is filled with barriers.
It was really the little things throughout the house. Counters that you can't roll up to. How to drag my wheelchair down steps.
I want to help, but he is so determined.
At Homes for Our Troops, we build specially adapted custom homes with features like wheelchair access, roll-in showers, and automatic door openers that allow them to function independently and focus on their recovery and family.
This house is freedom. It's hope. It's a new beginning.
This house has given me my family back.
To learn more, visit hfotusa.org.
For the ones who get it done, Grainger offers the professional-grade products you need, delivered when and where you need them. Call and click Grainger.com or just stop by.
AP News, I'm Marcela Sanchez. Iran's top diplomat says the tentative deal to end the war with the U.S. will require Israel to withdraw from Lebanon, a condition Israel has already rejected. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi says Israel's occupation of southern Lebanon would violate the deal. Speaking to reporters at the Group of Seven summit, President Trump says he's suggested to Israel, quote, to let Syria take care of Hezbollah. Speaking about Lebanon, the president said,
I would say of all countries, they've been treated the worst. And they can't defend themselves. And they have Hezbollah, which is a problem for them. So, no, I'm not happy with the way Israel has handled themselves with Lebanon and with Hezbollah.
Also on the agenda at the G7 summit is addressing the war in Ukraine. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is in attendance at the invitation of host France. Military officials say all 8 people on board a B-52 bomber died when the plane crashed in the Southern California desert. At a news conference, the deputy commander for Edwards Air Force Base, Colonel James Hayes, says the cause of the crash is unknown and is being investigated.
Right now, we're going to stand up an interim safety board to do the initial gathering of the facts, and that will then lead to a safety investigation board, which will look into those root causes. Once that's complete, it takes about 30 days, then it'll go into an accident investigation board, and then that will determine all of the information that we can release to the public and to the next of kin. That process can take upwards of 6 months.
Audio courtesy KERO. Several hundred Iranian Americans protested outside Iran's first World Cup game in Inglewood, California. Demonstrators waved pre-revolution Iranian flags. This is AP News. Cape Verde stunned Spain in the country's World Cup debut in Atlanta. AP correspondent Ed Donahue has more.
Spain is one of the favorites to win the World Cup, but little Cape Verde has a goalie named Bozina.
Cabo Verde! Cabo Verde!
He stopped every shot that came his way. Cape Verde didn't win, but they didn't lose. It was a scoreless tie. Agatha Fernandez saw it.
Everyone was expecting that Spain was going to win like 7-0. It's our first time in the World Cup, first game. Very excited. All Cape Verdeans were proud of the tie.
Cape Verde is the 3rd smallest nation by population to qualify for the World Cup. What do Spanish fans think?
Right now, I'm a little bit depressed.
Alvaro Checa is looking ahead.
Let's see. Sometimes you start off with the wrong foot and you win. So we still have time.
Spain last won the World Cup in 2010. I'm Ed Donahue.
More on this story at apnews.com. I'm Marcela Sanchez, AP News.
This is 8:20 a.m. WCPT Willow Springs and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. We'll see a few scattered showers and thunderstorms here for today with cloudy skies, a high in the mid-70s. Breezy winds out of the southwest around 10 to 20 miles per hour, gusting as high as 30. Tonight, partly cloudy skies develop, a low near 57. By Wednesday, a good chance for showers and thunderstorms, cloudy high of 70 degrees. And Thursday, skies will become mostly sunny, high of 73. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 63. Snakes, zombies, sharks, heights. Speaking in public, the list of fears is endless. But while you're clutching your blanket in the dark, wondering if that sound in the hall was actually a footstep, the real danger is in your hand, when you're behind the wheel. And while you might think a great white shark is scary, what's really terrifying and even deadly is distracted driving. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Everyone needs to take care of their mental health, even running back Bijan Robinson.
When I'm on the field and feeling the pressure, I usually just take a deep breath. When I'm just breathing and seeing what's in front of me, everything just slows down. It just makes me feel great before I run the play.
Just like Bijan, we all need a strong mental game on and off the field. Make a game plan for your mental health at loveyourmindplaybook.org.
Love your mind.
Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Foundation, the Arthur M. Blank Family Foundation, and the Ad Council.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
You're listening to Choose Views with Richard Chew.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. Today on Live, Local, and Progressive, Joan Esposito will be talking to Majid Padlin, who is also known as Brooklyn Dad, Defiant, and William Campbell, host of Here's How, Ireland's political, social, and current affairs podcast. That's Live, Local, and Progressive, weekdays 2 to 5 here on WCPT, heartlandsignal.com, and tune in. And tonight on Driving It Home, Patty Vasquez will be joined by Star De Los Santos, Associate Director of Coalitions for Women Employed, Ellie Krug, transgender activist and attorney, and host of the Illegal Trans Woman on KTNF. Hannah Herkus, founder and CEO of Boss Lady Logistics, and Nathan Taylor of the Election Truth Alliance. That's Driving It Home with Patty Vasquez, weekdays 5 to 7 here on WCPT, Heartland Signal website, tune in, Facebook, and YouTube. And tomorrow on Choose Views, my guests will include Kurt Mullett from Hoosier Blue 63, Kelda Roys, Wisconsin State Senator and Democratic candidate for Wisconsin, and John Parker, who's the host of The Gailey Show, weeknights 10 Central here on WCPT. And remember, Friday, it's our America at 250 conversations, and we'll have with us, of course, our great guest. We'll be talking about Juneteenth, so looking forward to that. But right now, when you fight and you get kicked in the teeth, you bounce back up and you keep fighting. And that's kind of how I would look at our next guest, who's been with us before. Lisa Stark, who is always going to be a journalist, former ABC News correspondent. I said this to her before. She's always going to be. The only former thing is the former ABC News correspondent, but she's always going to be a fighter and a great journalist that we've all come to appreciate. Lisa is back with us this morning. Good morning and welcome back to Choose Views. How you holding up?
Good. Thank you. That was a fabulous introduction. I think we could end the show right now and I'd be really happy.
But our listeners, you would be thrilled, as you should be. But our listeners would be like, wait a minute. I sat and waited to hear Lisa talk.
Okay, here we are. Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Oh, man. I'm glad you're well. I know you've been traveling a lot and just covering a lot of things and transitioning the work in your career, but still holding true to your roots as a correspondent and a journalist. Talk a little bit about, Lisa, what's been going on of late.
Well, as you say, I'm still a journalist in a way, right? I'm not working for ABC anymore, but I've been very active in the last year trying to shout out about freedom of the press and what is going on with this administration. And our last major effort revolved around the White House Correspondents Association dinner, which unfortunately had a very horrible end when that gunman tried to make his way into the room.
Right.
They are going to reschedule this supposedly for July. It's going to be a smaller event, but President Trump will still be there. And our concern the first time around, and it remains our concern, quite frankly, is that this is a major journalism organization, obviously the White House Correspondents Association, and they're hosting a president and an administration who has done everything in their power to try to thwart freedom of the press and to stop journalists from doing their job. So when I say I'm talking about Ian Cameron, who was my former co-worker at ABC, and 500 journalists, former journalists who signed this petition from all of the networks and newspapers and everywhere else, asked them to kind of hold President Trump's feet to the fire while he was there at the dinner and call him out. So now we have to figure out, okay, what are we going to do in advance of this next dinner? And that is a discussion that is underway right now. You can be assured that we will take some action to, again, point out the contradiction of this association hosting the president, which they've traditionally done at this dinner, but hosting the president and administration officials who have tried to shut down the free press.
You know, Lisa, I talked about this. I've talked about this before, and I talked about it a little bit yesterday. I was honored to be able to moderate one of the sessions at the Fair Tax Summit in Detroit. And one of the things that I talked about was how we've got to, and folks have heard me say this on my show, decorum and how we used to do things. We kind of have to recognize it for what it's been and what it's provided for us. But there are times when we have to go, you know, be damn decorum. And in this moment, I think that you guys have, those who've signed the petition are trying to say, wait a minute, the fact that they're trying to cut us off at the knees means that we still have to hold our standard as journalists in the work that we do, but that's separate from being kicked in the behind for doing the job and prevented from being able to do the work that we need to do. So decorum kind of has to go out the window as well until the administration gets their head right. And if they don't, then we should hold them to account for not getting their heads right. That's my opinion. That's my observation. What are your thoughts there? Decorum out the door.
Well, first, let me say that the association has made some strong statements about, the importance of freedom of the press. And that's why they want to continue to hold the dinner again, because they don't want to be silenced.
Okay.
But we've also seen, and I don't know if you remember that horrible night, there was a news conference at the White House. President Trump was very conciliatory that night towards the press and said, he said some nice things. Well, that lasted 24 hours, right? Until he started calling out journalists and claiming they were crooked and there was fake news. So I do think that tradition is tradition, but as you say, traditions have been thrown out the window with this administration. And so I know the White House Correspondents Association was in a really tough spot. I mean, it's traditional for them to extend an invitation.
Right.
The President Trump has declined every single previous invitation. He's coming now. He's already indicated that he doesn't know if he's going to be nice or not nice to the press, if his remarks will, be conciliatory, if he'll take him to the mat like they did at the White House with this fight over the weekend. So, we'll have to wait and see. But I'm really hoping that the Correspondents Association takes the occasion to really push back, at least verbally, against what's been going on.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. And I have all the respect for you guys that are the true journalists. I'm blessed to be able and honored to do my radio show. And I think that when I observe the work that you guys do, I'm just in awe of how much you put up with in the interest of getting to the truth and getting to the story that really matters. So, I think that part of that for me is just I want you guys to be respected for the work that you do. And when I don't see that happening, I think, okay, then they have the right to call out not only the non-truths from this administration, but the lack of respect that this administration is showing or not showing, depending on how you phrase that, to so many great journalists throughout the country. And, that leads me to a topic that I want to talk about. We're going to take a tiny break, Lisa, but when we come back, I want to talk about consolidation because of what just happened this weekend, or what's happening now with regard to Paramount and all the rest that's going on. You know what it is. When we come back, let's talk a little bit about that. We also just saw that Fox bought Roku. And so this is yet another consolidation of not just media, but communication. So let's take a break. Let's talk about that on the backside. The number is 773-763-9278. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina, and our good friends at AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. I'm Richard Chu talking with Lisa Stark, and we'll be right back. Hey progressives, it's Richard Chu, host of Choose Views weekdays 6 to 8 a.m. Central. We're all anxious for the 2026 midterm election to arrive so we can restore some sanity and much needed oversight to our government. In fact, it's the most important midterm election in American history, and Choose Views will be in the thick of it, bringing you candidate interviews on a regular basis. I'll be talking to Democratic Party hopefuls running for House and Senate at the federal and state level, as well as candidates for governor and other state and local offices.
I am in love with our ability to fight for our rights, to fight for our future, to fight for our freedoms, to fight as our ancestors fought. It's just our moment. This is just our time to stand up and to speak up. We can't give up on this.
If you miss any of the interviews live, you'll be able to find them all on WCPT's candidate interviews page at heartlandsignal.com/candidates. That's Choose Views weekdays from 6 to 8 a.m. on WCPT, Chicago's progressive talk for 20 years.
It's been a real journey since 2014. When I first had my injury, I realized that my home was just not working for me and that it was time to ask for help. Homes for Our Troops is really giving me my life back. The shower allows me to go in and turn around with my chair, pull down storage racks, automated door systems, hours of my morning given back to me. Adaptive sports are a huge part of my life, a huge part of my healing journey as well. Homes for Our Troops helped with making sure that I had a home gym so that I can continue to train. This past year, I was able to host Thanksgiving in my home. And it was the first time I was able to have my whole family in one place, and I was able to contribute to the meal. There are a lot more veterans in need, and Homes for Our Troops is going to be there to help them too.
Homes for Our Troops builds and donates specially adapted custom homes nationwide for severely injured post 9/11 veterans and enables them to rebuild their lives. Join our mission at hfotusa.org.
Because facts matter. You are listening to WCPT 820.
No fake news here. It's Choose Views with Richard Chu.
All right, guys, welcome back to the show. If you're just tuning in, this is Choose Views. I'm Richard Chu. We're talking with Lisa Stark, former ABC news correspondent and always a journalist. Lisa, consolidation is happening. It's been happening for a while, and it's concerned to anybody that is concerned about how we're getting our message, how we're getting our information. You've mentioned that these strategies are there kind of substituting real ownership and independence with this sort of propped up, corporate-owned media across the board. And there are fewer players now. So talk a little bit about the danger of that. Some of it might be common sense, but from your perspective, what's the danger of where we are right now?
Well, Richard, as you know, the Justice Department has indicated it's not going to oppose the merger of Paramount and Warner Brothers. This brings not just two major studios together, two major streaming services, Paramount and HBO Max, but two major news networks, right? CBS and CNN under the same roof. Now, I will say this isn't totally a done deal.
Right.
State attorneys generals are looking at whether they're going to oppose it. Foreign regulators have a bit of a say. So we'll see what happens. But the Justice Department says, in saying that it's not going to oppose this, that, and I'm quoting here, the film and TV industry is highly dynamic. So they say this will not harm competition or consumers. The problem is the folks in Hollywood, for example, are really concerned because they say, oh my gosh, there'll be less competition, fewer movies, wages are going to go down, less work. Journalists like myself are concerned because we have seen the owners of Paramount, David Ellison, his father, Larry Ellison, are very much in the administration's camp journalistically, and we feel as though they've already moved CBS to the right. Which there's nothing wrong with. Look, we need all sorts of voices, right? But the problem is, what is journalism and what is putting your thumb on the scale, as Scott Pelley from 60 Minutes put it. The concern is, what are they going to do with CNN now? And I know the folks at CNN are particularly, holding their breath at the best. And we're just going to have to see how this plays out. But the problem with consolidation is both that you have sort of fewer independent voices, but also you have corporations, major corporations that have so much business with the government, and the news part of their business is very tiny, right? And so they're going to do what they can to stay mostly in the government's good graces, and that may be settling lawsuits with the administration over news questions, things like that. So news sometimes takes second fiddle.
Firing journalists, putting journalists in a situation where they feel compelled to resign because of their journalistic ethics.
Right. 60 Minutes you're talking about, obviously.
And Don Lemon.
And others.
I'm thinking of Don Lemon with CNN. I mean, it's interesting how CNN buckled and, firing Don. I still said the reason Don got fired had nothing to do with they tried to make it about what he said about her name now, was it Nancy Mace or something? But I thought it had more to do with the fact that he stood up to Vivek Ramaswamy when Vivek Ramaswamy tried to tell him what it was like to be a black man, how to be a black man. And when he did that, I think the C-suite didn't like the fact that Don stood up real time and said, "You don't have any place to tell me about that." And so that firing was, to me, the opening that the Trumpites saw as an opportunity to be able to go after CNN in the future. They would weaken at the knees, and that's been consistent. So now here we have CNN and CBS, about to be cousins, if you will, and I think there's going to be more of that happening, both at CNN and at CBS. But some of this is my observation more so than having any real insider information. But for you, as someone that has made some tough decisions, you've also then pivoted to do something that I think is always really cool. When someone has something crazy happen, they pivot in a direction that's really ultimately about helping people, sustainability and helping folks. Talk a little bit about Lisa Stark Communications.
Well, I want to say one thing before we go into that, if I can. I do want to heap a little bit of praise on Disney and ABC. And I say that kind of with a half smile on my face because I began this effort with my colleague, former colleague, by excoriating Disney and ABC during the Jimmy Kimmel affair, when they pulled him off the air. Though we were thrilled to see, under a lot of subscriber and public pressure, that they put him back on the air within a week, but we still wanted them to stand up for their journalists, and we feel that they hadn't been doing that. So I will say Disney has now pushing back very vigorously against an effort by the Federal Communications Commission to take on their show, The View. The FCC has a number of other actions against Disney too. And, that is a corporation really sticking its toe in the water in a big way, because we've seen corporations, law firms, universities cow down, right, to the administration, bow down to the administration, I should say. And so I'm really thrilled to see this pushback by Disney against the weaponization of the Federal Communications Commission. So kudos to them. I want to give a shout out. I want to give a shout out to my former company.
You got to give
go for it,
because they're not getting it on the regular. So we got to give them their praise and such when they do those things, because in this cauldron that you guys are in, we know that it's not necessarily easy to do that, because there's a huge risk on the other side. So thank you for reminding us of that. So let's talk about Lisa Stark Communications.
Well, when I left journalism, I didn't know what I was going to do next. I did work in communications for American University here for a while. Great university. I'll give it a shout out too. And then I decided, okay, let's just try my own thing. And I was fortunate enough to have people start approaching me. And I've had the pleasure of helping people hone their message for the media. I've had the pleasure of moderating fascinating panels and emceeing great events. And it's been a fun ride. But I have to say, most of my time these days is spent doing this freedom of the press work because that is all consuming. There's so much to do. But, it's people don't know how to navigate the media. And I think it's really helpful if you want to get your message across. I don't care if you're a nonprofit, an individual, a corporation. When you have your chance to go in front of the media, the key is you really want to get your message across and use that opportunity. And that's what I hope I've been able to bring to some groups and some individuals.
That's great stuff, Lisa. I was, and with the folks that I was hanging out with yesterday in Detroit, a couple of the noted speakers talked about, as the country goes forward, one of the things that's important for Democrats who are running for office, whether they're running for the first time or they're running to hold office, is that storytelling is so integral to connecting with people right now. And you talk about that as well, that crafting a story that connects the storyteller to the voter, if you will, is something that we really, really have to work on and really get good at, because it shows that people have taken time to think about who their audience is and how much you care about the audience. You speak a little bit to that if you can.
Well, it's interesting you should say that. Our primary, I'm in Maryland, is next week. My mailbox, I have to tell you, is stuffed to the gills with, political flyers, which I do look at, try to figure out what I want to do, who I want to vote for. And I have found some of the messages to be incredibly tone deaf. And I'm not a political advisor. I don't pretend to be. I never will be. But I do think sometimes people lose sight of what the voters are interested in. And they have some consultant telling them, this is what you need to say, and this is what you need to do. And I think sometimes they just have to trust what people are telling them and trust their instincts, because I have found some of these just. I was talking to a friend of mine who is more politically active locally, and the flyers I'm talking about, he totally agreed with me. And he said to the person, "Why are your flyers like this?" "Oh, that's what the consultants told me I need to do." So, you need to communicate with the people. And I think, look, I'm going to say something that I have no background in saying, but just as a voter, as a citizen, I think the Democrats, or any politician needs to talk not just about what they're not going to do, but what they are going to do and what is going to be helpful to me. And especially local politicians, right? Because they're the people that affect everything that has to do in my local environment. So
it's the flavor of the day.
That's my political 2 cents from someone who has no right to say anything.
No, you have all the right in the world to say it, because it's the flavor of the day. And I will tell you that 95% of the people that spoke yesterday says their version of that. We got to get out of here, Lisa, but I can't wait to have you back on to talk more about this last little bit about communication and messaging, so that, because that's one of the things that Democrats got faulted on, is that we did not message well. And whether that's right or wrong, the fact that it's being said is something that we should address. So next time, let's talk a little bit about that a little bit more. But it's great to have you on again. Thanks for your hard work and your commitment to the business and commitment, I say, to the country, because you want to make sure that people are as informed as they possibly can be. So check out Lisa Stark Communications. Check out Lisa Stark. She's still a journalist, even though she's a former ABC correspondent. Thanks for hanging out with us, Lisa.
Richard, always a delight. Have a great day.
You too. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys, quick break. 773-763-9278 is the number. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT, AM 820 in Chicago, and WARR 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina, and also AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. I'm Richard Chu. When we come back, we'll be talking with Professor Leah Litman about her book and about all sorts of stuff she's working on. We'll be right back.
have someone we love, like the favorite lyric in our favorite song. You can't imagine life without them. Cancer screening tests can help keep the person you love around longer by detecting changes before cancer develops, or catch it early when it may be easier to treat. And many tests are available for free or are covered by insurance. It's time to sound like a broken record. Tell all your friends and family, I love you. Get screened. Visit cancer.org/getscreened to learn.
Imagine home. The smell of coffee, the sound of a lawnmower, the sun's warmth on your face. Free to be yourself, surrounded by love that helps you grow. This is a place to call home. That's an American dream we all deserve. But in 50% of U.S. states, you could legally be denied housing if you are LGBTQ+. Get the facts and hear real stories at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Small businesses are the heart of America. Like you, these entrepreneurs started out with a dream and the drive to build a better life. If you have a small business idea to grow or challenge to face, you don't have to go it alone. Since 1964, SCORE has helped millions of entrepreneurs build their businesses. Today, they are the nation's largest nonprofit source of expert mentoring, resources, and education. Whether you're starting out, building back, or have worked at it for years, SCORE will match you with specialized mentors. Our thousands of volunteers provide the guidance and connections you need for free. Your success is waiting. SCORE is ready to help. Find a mentor today at SCORE.org.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT Willow Springs, is powered by ComEd. Visit ComEd.com/facility assessment to learn more about energy savings.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. We'll see a few scattered showers and thunderstorms here for today with cloudy skies, a high in the mid-70s. Breezy winds out of the southwest around 10 to 20 miles per hour, gusting as high as 30. Tonight, partly cloudy skies develop, a low near 57. By Wednesday, a good chance for showers and thunderstorms, cloudy high of 70 degrees. And Thursday, skies will become mostly sunny, high of 73. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 64.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's Progressive Talk from TuneIn.
We may be waking up, but we're still engaged. It's Choose Views with Richard Chew.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. If you're just tuning in, this is Choose Views, and I'm Richard Chew. So, we're giving away a book, as I said earlier in the show, and that book is entitled Lawless, How the Supreme Court Runs on Conservative Grievance, Fringe Theories, and Bad Vibes. It's written by Professor Leah Litman, and the question for winning this book is, what year did we go from 6 to 9 justices on the Supreme Court? And there's a thing that it's called, I won't spoil it, but whoever gives us a call with that answer will get a copy of the book I'm holding up, which is Lawless. There you go, guys. Check it out. That'll be yours. Give us a holler. Mike or Devin will grab the answer, and we'll go from there. So, without further ado, welcome back to the show, Professor Litman. Hope you're doing well. Good to have you on the show this morning.
Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. Well, you've been busy, but not busy, I guess is the way I'll position it. And if I'm not putting too much of your business in the street, you've been on a little bit of a sabbatical for a period of time. Is that correct?
Yes. So I wasn't teaching last semester and had the opportunity to work on some writing projects while not teaching.
So is it too early to ask you what that's going to look like? Do we see another book on the horizon?
So I don't want to make any promises that I can't keep, but there may be another book on the horizon, and there will definitely be some law review articles. And of course, there's the updated paperback version of Lawless, which has a new section on the unitary executive theory, among other things.
Wow. Yeah, that's there is so much to talk about. We could talk for hours about what you just said, but all the other things that are happening right now. But let's start off by talking about, since I mentioned SCOTUS and 6 to 9 and what year that took place. Let's talk a little bit about some of the cases that are currently in front of the Supreme Court. And I want to get your, well, let's go there first, and then we'll come to a couple other questions. What's happening right now with SCOTUS, and what are you paying attention to, and why should we be?
So a few cases that the court is supposed to issue opinions in before the end of June. One, of course, is the major challenge to the president's effort to deny birthright citizenship to certain people who are born in the United States. I think that's probably the biggest case that people are watching at this point. There's also, however, some really significant cases that involve the independence of federal agencies. Those cases ask the court to say the president must have the power to fire everyone who leads these commissions or agencies that have such sweeping powers over corporations, the economy, our health, and our safety. And those cases are really important because if you give the president that power to fire the people at the heads of these agencies, you're effectively giving him the power to force people to do his bidding at these agencies. And given the news, this past week that the Department of Justice reportedly approved the merger between, Paramount, CBS, Warner, that's a sign of the kind of policies or actions that would come from the federal government if you give the president that kind of power over different agencies. So that's one, big set of cases. And then there's this case challenging absentee ballots and counting absentee ballots that are received after Election Day. And if the court says states can't count ballots that are received after Election Day, that's going to be hugely significant because it would nullify something like half of the voting laws or policies in states and really upend the upcoming midterms. That one is very, they both are extraordinarily concerning. Concerning is I hate to use that word because I sound like I'm a mouthpiece for Susan Collins. So I'm throwing a little dirt there, a little sand. But the problem that I have with it, as it relates to it's always what's the next. So what crossed my mind with firing folk is that I think about the military and I think about the Joint Chiefs and what could happen there, because then the president, if given this power to fire department heads, in his mind, he always stretches the rubber band in terms of what else he can do, is that then he could say, well, I'm going to fire the Joint Chiefs because I want to put my people in those roles. And hell, we're at war with whoever else because the Joint Chiefs are kind of, in some ways, still a little bit of the firewall of us going further militarily into Iran. So that's one category, and you can speak to that in a second. But when it comes to the things like this debacle with Paramount and Disney and Warner Brothers and CNN and CBS, I was just talking with Lisa Stark, a former ABC correspondent, and she spoke to the fact that the danger of that is we have limited then information sources, and no matter how good one might try to do, it limits where we're getting our information from, which then makes it a very singular message, and that's dangerous to the country, if not the world. So thank you for reminding us of those two cases. What do you think about, well, let's come back to this about firing. Do you have any feeling or insight as to how the Supreme Court's going to land on this? I'm not putting you on the spot. I just want to, pick your brain on this one. I'll make a prediction. I think they are going to effectively end agency independence and insist that the president must be able to fire the heads of every single agency except the Federal Reserve Board, in part because giving the president the power to fire governors of the Federal Reserve would be a recipe for a recession, economic catastrophe, etc. But I think that recognition belies the fact that giving the president that control over all other agencies is also going to be a catastrophe, just a different kind of catastrophe than giving him the power to fire the governors of the Federal Reserve would be. If you think about, for example, reporting that suggests the Department of Defense is giving out contracts to companies that are affiliated with Donald Trump's family, or reporting that suggests the companies that donated to Donald Trump's ballroom received something like $50 billion in government contracts. If you give the president the power to pick who heads these agencies and to fire anyone who doesn't do his bidding, you are allowing him to continue effectively using the public fisc and government money to pay his friends. And the constraints on the media are unfortunately part of that corrupt bargain, because I think it's reasonable to suspect that he's more favorably inclined toward the Warner-Paramount merger, because after Paramount took over CBS, they essentially insisted on making CBS something like state media and making it more favorable coverage for Donald Trump. So giving the president that kind of power over these corporations, including legacy media and big media outlets, is absolutely a threat to the kind of information we will receive and the First Amendment.
So in that space around him being able to have that kind of power, when it comes to any of the various departments, one of the things that concerns me about how this ties into who's not so much who's in charge, Professor Litman, but the manner in which they will then steer contracts and steer policy and actions. It does create a situation where a lot of people, well, I've heard a lot of people say that could put us in a position where we could face some sort of anarchy from in our society. And not to be hyperbolic, but a lot of people would then feel like if our government federally is not functioning, then what are we left with? So that's I know that a lot of people may not say it that way, but I certainly feel that it would be that's one of the concerns that we should talk about, but we really aren't talking about, is if the government's torn down like that, then we don't have a federal government that's going to function, and the citizenry will revolt. Maybe I'm crazy.
No, I mean, I think if you incapacitate the state, if you basically break it up and sell it off, then it is harder for the federal government to be able to do things that respond to people's needs and deliver the things they are demanding of the government. So
while taxing
while taxing them, and that is a recipe for more disillusionment and disengagement, where people look at their government, they see it as corrupt, they don't see it as serving their needs, and that's part of how we got into this mess in the first place. People were frustrated with the status quo, state of affairs, what the federal government and political parties were offering them, and so they elected someone, Donald Trump, who is selling off large parts of the state, right, using it for corrupt purposes and undermining government left and right. And so I think it is a real danger of something like a death spiral for government.
Yeah. So I want to ask you another question about something you mentioned as it relates to voting. And so in different states, if this becomes an issue that he can grab ballots, he can do all the things and the shenanigans that we've been talking about, and has this sort of ability to go down this path, and the Supreme Court gives him that power, essentially, or takes away the power of the states. Doesn't, though, the states, or certainly the state attorneys general, wouldn't they have standing to actually challenge that case, because it is a state, because the states essentially run the elections? Help us work through that. My brain is stuck on how to frame that question the right way. But what is the pushback, or what is the legal opportunity that state attorneys generals would have in the event that the Supreme Court comes down the way that we talked about?
So there are a few different ways states might push back. The president has already attempted to issue a series of executive orders that purport to demand different things from states with respect to voter rolls and lay out certain election demands that he doesn't have the authority to make. And thus far, courts have allowed state attorneys general to challenge the Department of Justice and the president's demands for voter roll information. States absolutely have standing to say, you federal government don't have the authority to demand this information from us. Now, some of the challenges to other executive orders or other parts of the executive order, courts have said those aren't what we call ripe. That is, we don't yet know what the president might do when he announces this plan to make rules regarding the election. But we have received some stories, reports that the president might be finalizing or issuing more specific demands or policies, like, for example, telling the Postal Service that they can't actually deliver absentee ballots, after Election Day. And once he announces policies like that, then state attorneys general absolutely should have standing to be able to challenge those demands, which, again, he has no legal authority to make. Under the constitutional system, not only do states set the rules regarding elections, but Congress is the institution of the federal government that can change them. And Congress has not passed a law that prohibits absentee ballots, absentee voting, and they haven't passed a law that gives the president authority to set additional rules regarding the elections.
And so technically the Supreme Court then doesn't have the power to even, they can rule on a case, but I guess that's where my brain went, Professor Litman. Like, if I were in your class, I'd raise my hand and go, don't the states still have the power here, because the Supreme Court doesn't have the power to give the president because the legislature isn't involved in the process. So this is where it's murky, and I think that the backboard here of the firewall are the state attorneys general. So thank you but I know you got something else to say on that. Let's take a quick little break, and then when we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about that, and then move into a little bit more about some of the state court systems. 773-763-9278 is the number. You're listening to Choose Views on WCPT, AM 820 in Chicago, 1520 AM and 103.5 FM from Warren County, North Carolina, and AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. I'm Richard Chu. We're talking with Professor Leah Litman, author of the book Lawless, How the Supreme Court Runs on Conservative Grievance, Fringe Theories, and Bad Vibes. We'll be right back.
This is Tony Moret. I'm an estate planning attorney who drafts living trusts and wills for my clients. You have probably heard my ads here on WCPT for the last few years. Your fellow listeners, when we have completed their plans, say, I wish I had done this sooner. It wasn't nearly as hard as I thought it would be. We can complete your estate plan within 30 days or less. There are certainly decisions that need to be made, but my 30-plus years of experience will help guide you through this process. There may never be a perfect time to start, but whenever I'm asked when is the best time, my answer is always the same. Now is the best time, while it is on your mind. Being able to tell your family that you have an estate plan in place, that all the details have been taken care of, will be a great relief to both yourself and those you care for the most. Our initial consultation is without charge, and there is no obligation. My phone number is 847-996-0496, and my website is moretlawoffice.com, spelled M-O-R-E-E. I look forward to speaking with you.
Spina bifida is a common birth defect, and everyone with spina bifida from childhood through adulthood deserves to flourish. The Spina Bifida Association is creating a future where this is more than just possible. It's inevitable. We're advancing clinical care and shaping innovative research. With your help, we'll build the future that people with spina bifida deserve. Join us at SBAA.org. That's SBAA.org. This message is sponsored by the Spina Bifida Association of America.
You know the national parks, but you may not know that they're supported by a strong foundation. A foundation for the future. We are the National Park Foundation. And together with your support, we are building a bold future where national parks are vibrant, protected, and welcoming. Today, tomorrow, forever. Donate at nationalparks.org/foundation.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
You're listening to Choose Views with Richard Chu. Take it away, Richard.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. I'm Richard Chu, and we're talking with Professor Leah Litman, author of Lawless. What a great book. How the Supreme Court runs on conservative grievance, Fringe theories, and bad vibes. And congratulations to Paul in Washington. He is our book winner, so we'll get a copy out to you, Paul. And listen, y'all, go buy the book. It's coming out in paperback, so don't make the excuse. It's too expensive in hardcover. Go get the doggone book. It is a great read. And it'll make you laugh. You won't throw anything at the wall, but it'll definitely make you laugh and feel kind of inspired with the writing. Professor Litman, thanks so much for being with us this morning. Glad you're back in the mix and probably getting ready soon for a fall term. How is that looking? Are you getting the oars back in the water, so to speak?
Definitely getting ready, although it's going to be a mad sprint until the end of June, given that the Supreme Court has 20 more cases that they are supposed to be releasing in the next 2 weeks. It's definitely going to be a wild ride. And then after that, yes, we'll be gearing up for the academic year.
Got it. One of the phrases that I've heard over the years is on kind of a marketplace of ideas. And one of the things that comes to mind when I think about the First Amendment, when I think about where we are with these mergers, is how is the court's sort of interpretation of speech and corporate not messaging, but corporate speech or corporations are people and that whole conversation. How's that warped our view of where we are in this space?
So I think in some ways, the most pointed examples are from the area of campaign finance regulation, but you can kind of generalize what the court has done to that area to others. So the court has struck down a bunch of campaign finance regulations that had sought to limit the influence of the super rich and their ability to basically buy themselves influence over and access to the federal government. Citizens United, of course, infamously struck down the law that had prohibited corporations from spending their own money advocating for or against particular candidates or issues. And then in a subsequent case, the court struck down what are called the aggregate limits on campaign finance contributions. Those were the restrictions that said you could give only up to a total amount of money to all candidates and all committees. And the combination of those decisions and others has made it so one super rich individual can donate an unlimited amount of money to a political action committee that can itself spend an unlimited amount of money making its own ads. And the result of that was in the 2024 presidential election, the richest person in the world, Elon Musk, pumping almost $300 million into the cause of electing Donald Trump. And we saw the sort of influence and access that gave him to government. After Donald Trump was elected, several federal agencies closed down investigations into companies that Elon Musk had stakes in.
Right.
Musk was also awarded a ton of very valuable federal government contracts that made him even richer. So that sort of influence and access, the Supreme Court just says, ain't no thing, doesn't bother me, that's not corrupt, doesn't give rise to the appearance of corruption. And you can see something similar happening in our media environment, where a few mega-rich individuals are basically cannibalizing the media landscape, and that gives them influence over, access to, and the power to control the information that we receive.
And it's fascinating because we know that the Supreme Court is not the six. I have to be clear. The six justices that are ruling this way. I've tried to stop myself or catch myself, Professor Litman, from saying the Supreme Court. But the six justices that are ruling this way, they're not stupid. They went through the same rigors that you went through to become an attorney, so they know how the law is to be written and to be applied, not interpreted to the narrative. But again, that's something that you and I are going to come back to the next time we have you on. We know the next few weeks are going to be crazy busy. I want to talk real quickly about this, the DOJ investigation into Gavin Newsom and his wife. I mean, this is just, I have a thought about this, but talk about what you've heard, share that with us, and then I want to come back and apply something that I'm thinking is part of what's going to be happening in future weeks. Go ahead. Sorry.
It's absolutely terrifying. This is suggestive of another politically vindictive investigation and prosecution of someone whom the president perceives as a political rival. He has weaponized the Department of Justice to go after people who challenged him, people who dissented, people who, again, are political rivals. And he is doing so in a very alarming way, which is he's targeting their family members, individuals who themselves are not running for office. And we don't exactly know what the investigation or allegations might be, but it seems to relate to the conduct of the nonprofit organizations or organizations that Jennifer Newsom, Governor Gavin Newsom's wife, leads. And the idea that the Trump administration is remotely concerned at all about how someone uses money given to their organization is, of course, laughable, given that the president just attempted to take $2 billion in taxpayer money and give it to himself to distribute to him and his friends with the insurrectionist slush fund. I could go on giving other examples, but it's clear he is just targeting someone he views as a political rival and going after their family.
And to that end, I mean, I thought about this when I first heard it. I said, okay, we know this is a playbook we've seen before from Trump, and this is where I think it's headed. I believe, and I'm going to say it here, and you're giving your thoughts. I think that one of the next targets is going to be Governor Wes Moore about the bridge. He's going to try to find some way to say that there's some fraud there about J.B. Pritzker and what indirectly he may have tried to do to help in the E. Jean Carroll case through Reid Hoffman's foundation. Gretchen Whitmer, in terms of what's going on in the state of Michigan with the, some of the dollars that have been contributed to her campaign over the years, and Josh Shapiro, because the state doesn't have a budget. Pennsylvania's fighting to get a budget in place, but that's because the Republicans are blocking it. In each of these cases, these are four people that would be viable candidates, more than viable candidates for the 2028 presidential run. I think that that's where we're headed. I really do. Your take on that as we wrap up today?
I think that that's eminently plausible. I mean, we know that the president is not above asking people, coercing them into trying to manufacture dirt on his political opponents. That was the basis of one of the impeachments, where he attempted to pressure Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky to manufacture dirt on Biden and Biden's family members. So I think it's very reasonable to be concerned about all of this. And we should remember, even if these cases don't result in an indictment or a prosecution, the investigation itself is a problem, because that takes time, that takes resources, it damages someone's reputation, it will distract them away from their public office. So even if there's no indictment, we are already over the ledge.
Yeah, and Todd Blanche seems to forget that we know that he was Donald Trump's personal attorney during Donald Trump being indicted for some of the same things that he wants to send the Justice Department against other people for. So, let's remind them that we're not stupid and that we're plugged into this. Professor Litman, it's always great to have you on the show. I know you had some time away, which was well-deserved, and I will be hopefully one of the first people that gets to know about if there is a new book, and if it is, we will do our dead-level best to talk about it here on our show. But I appreciate you taking some time to be with us, and we wish you all the success these next few weeks, because I know that your buckets are full right now. So thanks for being with us this morning.
Thanks for having me.
We'll talk with you soon. Professor Leah Litman, author of the bestseller Lawless, How the Supreme Court Runs on Conservative Grievance, Fringe Theories, and Bad Vibes. Thanks for being with us this morning. Talk to you soon, and happy Juneteenth. All right, guys, we wrap up today with knowing that we were able to give away one of Professor Litman's books, but we were also able to have the great Lisa Stark with us, and Charles Booker, who's running for Senate in the great state of Kentucky. Thanks to all three of our guests. We appreciate them being with us, and we also appreciate you guys for hanging out with us this morning. Tomorrow's show, Kurt Mullett, Hoosier Blue 63, will be one of our guests, and I'm looking forward to spending some time with him. And, of course, Kelda Royce, who's a Wisconsin state senator and Democratic candidate in Wisconsin. John Parker, who is the host of The Gailey Show, will be with us as well. So there you go. That's what's happening. Thanks for tuning in to Choose Views. What can I say other than stay tuned for the Stephanie Miller Show and take a deep breath. Make your life count. We'll see you tomorrow.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Too often, political news focuses on what's happening in Washington, D.C. But from redistricting to reproductive rights, what matters most to your life happens at the state level. And when no one's closely watching the state, bad stuff happens. That's why Heartland Signal offers Radio Free America, a free weekly newsletter from me, Aaron Kleinman. Sign up at heartlandsignal.com/newsletter. I spent 7 years helping the most successful state-level political group navigate elections across the country. Now I want to help you understand what's going on in your state. And I'll also have some funny stuff in there too, like Weird Al on Howard Stern. Because, let's face it, we could all use a laugh. So sign up for our free newsletter, Radio Free America. We never share or sell your email address, and you can unsubscribe at any time. Sign up now at heartlandsignal.com/newsletter.
Amazon Business. Discover smart business buying, where unmatched selection meets AI-driven tools to simplify complex processes so you can focus on what matters most. Learn more at amazonbusiness.com.
This is 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and streaming worldwide at WCPT820.com. We are Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Now, your WCPT 820 weather update.
From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. We'll see a few scattered showers and thunderstorms here for today with cloudy skies, a high in the mid-70s. Breezy winds out of the southwest around 10 to 20 miles per hour, gusting as high as 30. Tonight, partly cloudy skies develop a low near 57. By Wednesday, a good chance for showers and thunderstorms, cloudy high of 70 degrees. And Thursday, skies will become mostly sunny, high of 73. That's your latest Chicago weather update.
Currently, it's 66.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT Willow Springs, is powered by ComEd. Visit ComEd.com/facility assessment to learn more about energy savings.
Feel the rush of summer in your new Porsche. Find the perfect model for you at the Porsche Exchange in Highland Park. Browse and test drive our extensive selection, like the 2026 Porsche Cayenne. Right now, lease the 2026 Cayenne for just $11.99 a month for 39 months. Discover performance like no other when you visit the Porsche Exchange in Highland Park or PorscheExchange.com. $10,990 signing for qualified buyers. Excludes tax, title, license, and dealer fee. No security deposit required. See dealer for details. Offer ends 6/30/26.
Homeowners, is your upper floor too hot in the summer? Are energy bills climbing with every degree? Green Attic can help. With over 15 years of experience and more than 1,000 five-star reviews, Green Attic is a trusted name in Chicagoland for insulation, ventilation, and roofing solutions that make homes more comfortable and energy efficient. They specialize in attic insulation, spray foam, crawl space encapsulation, mold remediation, and solar attic fan installation, all designed to keep your home cooler and improve indoor air quality during the warmer months. Green Attic also offers full-service roofing through Green Attic Roofing, from roof repairs and replacements to flat roofs, commercial roofing, and solar panel installation. The right insulation and ventilation can lower energy use, reduce strain on your HVAC system, and help maintain more consistent temperatures throughout your home. Green Attic backs its work with the industry's only 10-year labor warranty. Schedule your free insulation consultation at greenattic.com or get an instant roofing estimate at greenatticroofing.com. Green Attic, healthy home, happy family.
When you've got real work to do, Metal Supermarkets will help you get it done fast. With a huge variety of metals in stock, we can help no matter what job comes your way. And we cut to size, because just like taxes and BS, we think metal is better when cut. Metal Supermarkets, the convenient stores for metal. Find a store or shop online at metalsupermarkets.com.
WCPT replay.
I mean, look, Kash Patel should no more lead the FBI than Trump's other favorite, Hannibal Lecter, should be the head chef at a restaurant. Robert Kennedy deciding what protections to eliminate in our healthcare system is like deciding whether it's better to get eaten by a shark or electrocuted when your boat sinks. Remember that? That's the deranged and dangerous world we're in now, and we need each other in this world. The time for blame is over. It doesn't help. We cannot go into this moment allowing ourselves to be isolated from other people. So look, let's please recommit to each other. Let's also commit that we will try to be grateful while we fight, as Americans always have, for a democracy and a government worthy of a great people.
Keep listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter. Choose Views with Richard Chew.
So here's what I've been recommending to politicians, to candidates for a while. Yeah, state the obvious. This is messed up. This is a problem. Here's what I stand for. Here's what I'm going to do about it. And here's how you're going to benefit from it. It shows that they understand. They see what's happening. They put themselves in the cauldron of what it will take to fix it. And then who's going to be the person that's going to reap the benefits of that activity.
Richard Chew. Weekday mornings at 6 on WCPT 820.
The Sports Cubicle. Economics professor at Smith College, Massachusetts, Andrew Zimbalist.
When Chicago is approached, or Illinois is approached for new public funds to build yet another stadium, it shouldn't be, hey, this is going to be an economic boon for the city. It's not going to be. It should be, how much is it worth to us culturally to keep these teams here?
The Sports Cubicle with Mike Mercado, Devin Tingle, Dan Marver, and Paul Shavari. Sunday nights, 9 p.m. on WCPT.
WCPT replay.
Karen in Chicago. I have to say this. You know, you talk about the progressive voices that we need. WCPT, Heartland Signal, is one of the most important lineup of voices out there for progressive ideals. And, of course, you know, Richard Chew comes on before you guys.
Right. Love him.
Absolutely.
Why
does he not name his show
Chew on That? I would like that better. Chew on This.
Choose Views.
Choose News.
Choose
News, that's what it's called. Yeah, it's called Choose Views. But I'm just
Choose
saying.
News. And it is so important, and we do need to, for anybody out there that they're talking to friends and relatives who are just completely freaked out and in despair, tell everybody about these progressive resources.
Keep listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.